Once you have a good understanding of the reasons or the justification for the project, you can then further organize it by defining who are your main stakeholders. This is your list or your cast of characters that should be involved because they have important information or will be affected by the project. Many projects that have an incomplete list of what they should have included develop this problem by not having a good exercise of stakeholder analysis. Some of the stakeholders that you should get in touch with would be, for example, the manager who is sponsoring this effort, the client, if it's a different person who will be paying for the effort, the project team, in other words, any people that are needed in order to do the work that performs the project. Maybe some subject matter experts if you will need the services of an architect or an outside designer. Their opinion will be super relevant. Sometimes if you're doing maybe a house extension, there will be outside regulators whose requirements very much would be needed to be taken into account from the very beginning. And sometimes important users that may have their own criteria for what the project needs to do will need to be consulted. It might be useful to speak a little bit further on important users because these are users that are not obviously in the project. Perhaps they are your customer's customer, or perhaps they are users that we don't have any interaction with while the project is being performed. As an example, a few years back, my team developed a manufacturing system for a customer in Florida. And at the very end, when we were showing the customer and demonstrating the usage of the system, the customer was aghast and very upset that all the users of the system, which were his manufacturing workers, came from the Haitian community from Haiti, and they only spoke French or Creole. Whereas all the screens that we had developed were in English. So he was very upset that we had not taken the fact that these were not English speakers into account. Had we analyzed who are the important users that we have to cater to, we would have figured out that the screens needed to be in English as well as in Creole and French. So having a comprehensive list of your main stakeholders will help you organize your project tremendously and keep it in good stead. Being fully aware of who are the important people that can make the decisions will prevent problems down the line, such as taking direction from a person that may be very outspoken but has no formal authority, or perhaps setting a budget that is unrealistic because the person paying the bills is not willing to go that high. Also, moving too slowly on the project or moving too quickly because the real decision makers have a different idea of time frames. Perhaps working with a set of specifications that is not complete because, for example, a building inspector was not consulted. Or maybe going through a project lacking a key skill that is needed for an important part of the project's performance. This concludes our exercise on analyzing a project's stakeholder. We hope that between the definitions and some of the examples, this gives you a good idea on what to do on your projects going forward. Now let's go consider the last topic in our project initiation.